What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I'll put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. Video is entitled Are Student Loans a Dream Killer? A lot of people go to school, they get an education, and along with that education, they get debt. And the older I get, I wonder why so many people, are lacking enthusiasm. Is maybe because these student loans are dream killers. When you were younger, they told you, you go to college, get an education. They didn't tell you the cost. And, with some people, and I remember when I was younger, when somebody tell you to go to a JUCO or community college first, people tell you, I don't want to do that. But nobody ever told you the finances of school. So people tell you to go to community college or junior college to get that first 2 years under your belt as far as education without having the 4-year debt. But a lot of people don't get that. But when you graduate, you kind of go, oh, I see what they're talking about. Which becomes a problem. Because what winds up going on is you're stuck in a situation where you owe too much money now. They tell you don't get credit cards because of the interest rates. You grown, you do what you want. You get credit cards, debt. They tell you, don't take your student loan refund, mess around and do crazy stuff. You might pay for your spring breaks with your refund. So now, though spring break was fun, debt. Though you got a refund check, you went shopping, debt. And you didn't put any money aside, you didn't invest, not necessarily invest, because in college, 99% of people don't know nothing about investing. But when you graduate, or when you get close to graduation, you start realizing how much you owe and when the debt is going to hit. And I think a lot of times people don't think about it as it winds up being a dream killer. Because now you want a certain type of lifestyle, but having a degree doesn't necessarily cement you in the industry that you want to be in per se. If you in STEM, probably. But if not, it could go either way. And even in STEM, the competition could be a little steep, so you might have to make your way in places that you might not have wanted to go. Take a road less traveled, per se. But the loans coming at you. And why I say it's a dream killer, because when people get those payments and those loans and they come in and they look at the payment history, I used to give you the little booklet. I don't know about now, but you're looking at how much you got to pay a month to take care of that debt. And now it gets into the way of the type of house you wanted to live in, the type of neighborhood you want to live in, the type of house you want to live in, the type of car you want to drive. If you're able to travel here or there, or if you're able to get in a relationship. Because you may never necessarily be financially as stable as you could be, because some people, basically I guess increasingly people's student loans are about the size of a rent or a house note. And with that weighing on you, on top of having to take care of yourself like an adult, I think people, who has time for dreams? Because now you want to be things, which ironically, you might as, some people get so depressed and they wash their hands with the loans and they just, I'm going to just live my life, and then it hits like back child support, right? When I left this loan, it was $40,000 and I came back to it, it's $180. Like, what are we doing here? Interest, man. Interest. Compounding interest. But now, you might have wanted to pursue a certain passion or a certain type of career outside of what you went to school for. And now you feel like, the debt is so much that you don't have the time, because now you're working to pay down the debt, or you're working to survive. So the things you really want to do with your life, you might not want to or be able to make the time and actually live your life. You might have to take out of your sleep, take out of your free time, take out of your downtime. And now you feel like, just to pursue your dream, because of these student loans, you can't even live. So now the procrastination comes in, because you procrastinate. I procrastinate. I know, but I don't have student loans, so I paid mine off relatively fast. Let's just say that. But, a friend of mine told me, they started to add it to people's mortgages. So if you're trying to get a house, your student loans is actually in there. They building it into your mortgage payment to see what you can afford and can't afford because of your loans. And that's, for that to be in practice, that means student loans have a firm grasp on American society. Like, people don't think about it, but I want to say the American debt is like 20 trillion, but like the student loans is like that, is up there like that too. Like, so the amount of money this country, the amount of money people who went to school owe is basically around the same amount, or near the same amount, that the country owes to China. So in some ways, the debt to a foreign country is offset by the debt that people owe with Fannie Mae or Sallie Mae, which is, I think, a federal entity. So it's very interesting. But because of that, you can't, you're competing against what you thought was the best way to get ahead in life. We're starting to see side hustles like people back in the day because of student loans. Student loans create side hustles. Is what it is. But now when people say, I have a dream to, write a screenplay, write a book, make an album, like make a short film, it's looked at in a weird way. Like, it's kind of applauded, and it should be. But at the same time, it's the discipline on top of being disciplined enough to take care of yourself and pay down your debt. So you're burning the candle at both ends. And I think people are depressed about that. Thus, also, this is one of the relationship issues, because no matter what most people say, they want to be with somebody who got it together, but most people don't really have it together, even if they have it together because of student loans. So you might not feel like you're at a complete space where you can actually maintain a relationship, because even if you're living a decent lifestyle, the student loans might get in the way of family, like just dating, courting, building relationships, and even, marriage and creating a family, because it's so much money on the back end. And this is why, like, I even talk about, one of the things about not getting married is you got to take on people's debt. And nobody wants to do that. Well, I ain't going to say nobody, but a lot of people don't, because you got to come to the table and be honest about your debts. Because marriage is also a business, so people got to know how far in the hole you are. That's why people want to look for ballers and people making a certain income a year, because it offsets the debt and hole that the other person is in a lot of times. That's why people are looking for rich people as a mark or a come up, because that rich person can get you out of your financial situation. That for a lot of people who are even working class people, comes from student loans. And it's very interesting, because I think there's a sense of depression with student loans, and I think there's a sense of hopelessness, because a lot of people are not going to see themselves get out of it no time soon. I remember with President Obama, he was like, the book paid off his student loans during the campaign, having a bestseller. He was well into his 40s, early 50s when that happened. And that happens for a presidential candidate, which says a lot. You know what I'm saying? So even a president had to deal with this. So is it a dream killer? If you want your dreams, you're going to have to fight for them, I think, doubly hard. I mean, not necessarily doubly hard. Everybody always has to fight for their dreams, but this might add to the equation. So like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.